Hey guys, Connor Henderson here with Audio Enhancement. Excited to be here today, and thank you again for your time. Like to jump right into it, but hopefully today I can help you understand a little bit more about who Audio Enhancement is and what we do as a company, and really how we can be a benefit to your school district to help your school district increase and get even better than it already is. So jumping right into it, I want to ask you a question. What are the top two priorities that you as a school district have? As we've gone through many different school districts, they came back and they said the two most important things that we focus on as a district are safety in the classroom and helping the kids increase in their education and their academics. And as a company, we have found, and we pride ourselves on the same thing, helping kids feel, and students and staff and whoever's at the school, feel as safe as possible so that they can focus on their academics. They don't have to worry about that, and they can achieve and they can grow and become who they want to be. So today I want to talk about 4 different steps on who Audio Enhancement is and what we do. The first thing is our audio system. We're Audio Enhancement. That's our core product. That's what we pride ourselves on. And I want to tell you the story on how our audio systems came to be, and it'll kind of tell you a little bit more about where we went and how we ended and where we are today. Not ended, but where we are today. And so our audio systems, 40 years ago, a mother named Claudia had 2 hearing impaired children. Now these children were normal, kind of, sometimes. Still today they're a little, they could think normal, they could act normal, they could be normal, they had normal friends. They did everything that the general ed could do, or the general population could do. They just couldn't hear normal. So Claudia, being a loving mother, found a company who could design a speaker for Jeremy and Justin and a microphone for Jeremy and Justin's teacher to wear. So when they went from class to class, they could hear the teacher teaching and they could be part of the general ed and they can learn at that pace of learning. And that's what they did. So over time, not long time, teachers and parents of the students of Jeremy and Justin started to realize that the kids who sat next to Jeremy and Justin started to do better and started to behave better and act better and like I said, do better on tests, quizzes, homework, whatever it was. And it was because they could hear the teacher better. And some of the parents came to Claudia and to the teachers and said, well, I thought my kid had ADD or a learning disability of some sort. But really, he just couldn't hear the teacher and what he or she was saying. So 40 years later, we're still here today implementing audio systems around the country, helping kids, whether it's the general ed, special ed, whoever it may be, increase in their academics because now they can hear the teacher wherever the teacher may be at. The second thing I want to talk about, and I'll get into depth of these as I go, but is our SAVE system. Now our SAVE system was a request by the school districts. They said, your audio system's great, but we're focused on safety, and our teachers are using your audio systems every day, and that's the only thing that they're wearing on them every day. They're not wearing their key fob. They don't have their cell phone on them. They're not wearing their badge every day, but they do have that microphone on for instruction. Is there any way that you could implement a safety button in that microphone that sends a silent alert to the front office saying, hey, there's an emergency in the room wherever they're at? And that's what we did. We implemented that, and we saw teachers use it and love it. The third thing I want to go into, and this was kind of a natural request by school districts saying, hey, your SAFE system's great, but every incident is so different. Is there any way that we can get eyes in the classroom so we can see how to respond? Is it a medical emergency? God forbid, is it an intruder? Is somebody acting out and they just need more assistance? What's going on? Is there any way that you can put a camera in the classroom that implements with your SAFE system? And that's what we did. Now, as we did that, teachers came to us and said, we like the camera, but we feel a little big brothers. Is there any way that we can have full control of this camera and use it as a professional development tool? So we implemented the both. This can be used as security and professional development. Teachers can record themselves, share it with many different people. They can rewatch themselves, and I'll get into more depth as we go. But that is our EduCam 360 is what we call it. The last thing we do, and it ties everything together, and it's kind of our latest and greatest product that we have released, is our EPIC system. This is our intercom paging your bell system. EPIC stands for Education Paging Intercom Communication System. And it ties our audio system, our save system, and our camera all in one system, so the school is all on the same platform, you could say. And so, like I said, I'll get into more depth, and I want to start with the audio to kind of help you understand a little bit more on how this can be such an impactful tool in the classroom. A lot of times, people have a misconception of what audio really is in the classroom. It's not for the teachers to use their wonderful teacher voice even louder. It is for them to use their teacher voice more clearly so that students can hear exactly what the teacher is saying and not stressing to hear what the teacher said, and the teacher to save his or her voice as they go throughout the lesson each and every day. Now, I know you came here for a physics lesson. Just kidding, but I'm going to give you one anyways. This is the inverse square law. It's how sound travels over time. Without audio enhancement in the classroom, and as we know, sound is going to decrease over distance. It's obvious. A good example that I really, really like is when a fire truck has its sirens on and it's coming closer to you. What is happening? The fireman is turning up the volume as it gets closer to say, hey, I'm here. No. It's just naturally getting closer and naturally getting louder to you. It's the same way with sound. It's going to decrease in the classroom. When a teacher raises his or her voice without audio enhancement to use the wonderful teacher voice that they have, they need to get to the back of the classroom so that they can hear. They're going to use a louder tone of voice, right? And so what is that going to happen? What's going to happen to the kids in the front of the classroom? Over time, we've asked them, hey, what happens when they use their teacher voice? And they say, hey, we feel like we're getting yelled at, or we feel like the teacher is shouting in our face. And when sound goes up, what happens to first, second, or 6th and 7th graders, high school kids even, what happens? Their energy levels go up, and it's kind of like a flight or fight. They don't know whether to pay attention or not to pay attention. With audio enhancement, and that's this blue line here, no matter where the teacher goes in the classroom, if he or she is turned around on the side of the classroom, in the back of the classroom, moving, interacting, the sound is going to be the same because there's 4 speakers in the class. So the kids in the front, the back, the side, they're all going to feel like the teacher's having a one-on-one conversation with them at all times, no matter where they're at. This is important for especially anybody learning a new subject. Students, they're all learning new subjects, right? So when they hear something, they're going to have to fill in the gaps with what they know. And this is a good example for 1st and 2nd graders. If they hear a teacher say, the teacher is going to go chopping this week, they're going to write, the teacher is going to go chopping this week. But as adults and older groups can say, oh, the teacher's not going to go chopping this week, they're going to go shopping, right? When you get into 6th and 7th, 8th grade, or even high school level, and they're learning Algebra 2 and biology and history terms, which I was really bad at, they're not going to know to just fill in the gaps like that. As adults, we can fill in some of those gaps because we have the prior knowledge, but with audio enhancement in the classroom, they're not going to have to fill in the gaps. The teacher is going to be clear with the audio system, and the students are going to say, oh, yeah, the teacher's going shopping, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about where they're going. And I really like this example because it kind of shows how the mind, the brain of an adult can work, and the mind and the brain of a student will work. But one of the greatest things that we found, one of the coolest things that we naturally found over time was teachers started to save their vocal cords. As you can see here, teachers are 3 times more likely to see a doctor about vocal issues. They're talking every day. They're using their voice every day. And they need to be able to save their voice and their energy throughout the days. There was a study done by Dubuque Community Schools in Orange County about teacher absenteeism. Okay, and this was really cool. There was a 65% decrease in teacher absenteeism in Dubuque community schools with sound enhanced classrooms. That is a huge ROI for the school district, and it is going to save the school district tons of money. Orange County, kind of the same thing, 25% less teachers missed. There was less teacher absenteeism in the school district, which is, again, huge for the school district saving money. There are 40 years of research proving that audio in the classroom is the most proven technology, like I said, and the most impactful in the classroom. And as I've seen it over the years, I'll go to the end of the day fighting, saying, yes, this technology needs to be in the class. And like I said, there's so many studies, and I'm going to send these to you so you can go over and see for yourself how impactful this technology can really be. There's a really cool interactive tool that we've seen and we've implemented in the classroom, and that's a cue ball. We insert our microphone in the ball, and you can toss it around to whoever, all the kids, whether they're popcorn reading or you need them to interact and be part of the conversation. Hugely impactful in the classroom. So the next thing I want to get into is our Epic system. Like I said, this is our intercom paging and bell system. This is the platform, and I want to paint you a picture so you kind of understand how the school's going to look. We get a map, a paper map, we turn it into a digital map, and then we install a 22-inch panel that sits in the front office. So the front office lady or the operation manager, whoever that may be in your school, can handle this software and pretty much control the school by a touch of the button. So as you can see here, you can do many different things. And why does this tie into the audio system? Because each classroom can be a specific zone, as you can see here, right? So with that audio system, you can click, okay, I need to get Johnny out of 113. His mom's here to pick him up. So you click on 113, and you can see that Isaac Newton is the teacher of 113 at this time. And then they have a warning bell at 7:55, and then they get out at 8. And it's room 113, and they're part of specific zones, okay? So I just need to get Johnny out of 113, and I click on it, and I click the intercom and say, hey, I need Johnny at the front office. The teacher can communicate back directly like a phone call and say, okay, Johnny's on his way. And that is how you can make a call down to the specific room. So with each individual classroom being able to be a zone, and you can design it. It's very intuitive, very easily to design any zone that you want, any bell schedule that you want, any mass notification that you want by the click of a button. So if I want to call into the science room, I've already programmed it to be a zone. Click on science room. It highlights them immediately, page into the science rooms and say, hey, you need to be released, the bus is here, whatever it may be. Okay, the mass notification is a really cool feature, and this integrates with our SAFE system a little bit. If somebody has fallen, hit their head, or whatever you may need, God forbid there's an intruder, lockdown, tornado, whatever it may be, and you can customize these. You can click on it, start a notification, and it can be a pre-recorded message out to the school what they need to do and how they can act appropriately. Why is that important? Put yourself in an emergency and try to talk over the intercom saying, hey, there is an intruder or something is happening outside. There's a tornado coming. How is the person going to be acting? They're going to be heated and their energy levels are going to be up and their voice is going to be raspy because they're going to be rushing. So it can be a pre-recorded message saying, okay, everybody lock down, do this, code blue, code red, whatever it may be, depending on your school district, by the touch of a button. So, like I said, this system was specifically designed for K through 12. As you can see, August to July. Obviously, we know that's not your normal year schedule, but it was specifically designed for them, for you guys, so that you could have each individual day designed to what you want it to be designed to. So you can have A day, B day, C day, A lunch, B lunch, C lunch, Fridays off, Thursdays late release, whatever it may be. You can, by the touch of a button, you can add that to your intercom system and it will act immediately to your request. I want to go back to this because there's a very important part. This was designed for the least technologically advanced person, I guess you could say. We wanted somebody who didn't really understand technology to be able to go through, add different bell schedules, add different lunch schedules, add different zones, whatever it may be. We wanted him or her to be able to do that by the click of a button. So it's very, very easy. So how it integrates with our SAFE system and kind of how our SAFE system works a little bit more. Do we have any questions up until now? Okay, perfect. So, like I said, it is a discrete notification button. And why is that important? Because imagine if somebody was in the class, whoever that may be, and you had to run over to the wall, click the button, have the intercom say, what's going on? How can we help you? Oh, there's somebody here that's not allowed to take out Johnny, but he's here. I mean, it's going to escalate the situation. With a discrete button, you can hold it, click and hold the side of the microphone for 2 to 3 seconds. It'll send an alert down in the front office. The front office will acknowledge, saying, okay, we received the notification, and we'll send the appropriate help. So now a lot of people think, okay, this is just for an intruder situation or the worst situation possible. No, this is really for multiple different purposes. It could be a medical emergency. It could be a discipline, parental situation, intruder. There's many, many different situations that you can use this for, but it will save and help the teacher feel more comfortable with having a safety button at a slide of the hand and click on a button. So like I said, when that notification is sent to the front office and they say, okay, we received it somehow with the intercom system, and I'll get into that in a sec, they'll see 3 red lights on the receiver that sits in the class saying, okay, your notification was properly sent. So the teacher can have peace of mind, okay, it's sent. Then when the front office receives it, it'll go green, red, green, saying, okay, teacher can think, somebody saw my notification, they're acting appropriately, whatever the situation may be. Okay? With the EPIC system, the intercom paging and bell system in the front office, you'll be able to see, if you have the camera, you can see a live stream of what's going on. Why is this important? Well, Johnny needs an EpiPen, so we're going to notify the nurse. Let's get the nurse. Or whatever it may be, they can act accordingly. With the map, it pops up with the location of where that notification was sent, and you can see what devices are online and offline and so forth. If a teacher clicks that button and goes into the hall, it is going to take the closest receivers and draw a little bubble of where he or she may be. It'll say, okay, they're here in this part of the school. And so that's where the nurse can go, that's where the police can go, or whoever it may be. Text and email alerts. Whoever has the proper credentials or gets put on the email and text list will be able to receive a text or an email when a notification is alerted by the teachers. If they have access to the network or they're on the network, they can click and they can see the same thing that the intercom system in the front office can see. They can see whether it's, they can see the camera, they can see where it happened, whatever it may be. And if they have the proper credentials, again, they can acknowledge or they can notify the person, the correct person for who it may be, whether that's the police, the district, lockdown, or whatever. Now, an important part of I'm going to go back to here. When they acknowledge, the front office acknowledges that there's an issue in the classroom, they're going to have to go back after they respond to the incident or whatever it may be and say, this happened. There was a kid who fainted and needed medical attention at 4:05 in the afternoon. Why is that important? Because you can go back to stakeholders and you can go back to the community and say, look at how well our school did this year. We responded. There was an incident at 4:05. We responded at 4:05, and we got help at 4:06. So it took us 1 minute to get Johnny an EpiPen, or whatever it may be. But that will help document certain incidents, whether it's a false alarm or something really did happen. So, view path, the camera, kind of going into the security part and the instruction part of the camera. First with security, it's a fisheye 360-degree classroom view. You saw kind of on the Epic system on how that is. You can see every inch of the class to make sure you don't miss anything. It has a 24/7 recording option, so you can record every single day, all night, to make sure you're getting what you need. The instruction part, you have multiple camera views. I'm not going to get into that in a sec. And it's fully teacher controlled. That was a huge, and I've already went over it a little bit, but a huge request by the teacher saying, hey, can we have access to this so we can feel that we're in control and we can be comfortable with the system. So the camera views, you have a teacher view. The teacher can record themselves face to face. This is a lot like the flipped classroom, but it's a little bit different. So they can record themselves. They can do a double panorama, or they can do a quad view. So they can see, oh, I called on the girls more than I called on the guys, or I called on the left side more than the right, or I wanted to see how they acted in groups and different scenarios. You can also, when you're doing the teacher view, you can do a picture-in-picture or lecture capture. So the teacher's recording themselves, and it can record the board. So when you send that to a sick and homebound kid, which I'll get into in a sec, they can see what's getting written on the board at the time. The huge part that we came to realize after implementing the camera systems was that it had to be a very easily thing to use. They had to be able to click into it, set up a recording, whether that was one day or the whole year, and be able to use it and feel comfortable with uploading stuff to certain kids and being able to manage the software. And that's what we did. We made it very, very easy for teachers to use. Now I'm going to go over 3 buckets. Any questions so far? Perfect. So I'm going to start with professional learning. Bill Gates did a TED Talk, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's pretty popular, but he said, why is it that our professional sports teams, our professional surgical teams, all these professional people are recording themselves and learning from themselves and learning from others and having that experience, except for our teachers, when our teachers are the most important people to be able to do that. And as an athlete, a long time ago, I played a game, or I did practice, and that was the most important thing, was to go back and watch myself and learn from what I did. And we see it all day, every day, whether it's sports, whether it's surgery, military, whatever it may be. People are going back and sharing with their peers and other things how they did and what they were doing and how they could increase in what they were doing and helping each other out. This is a really good thing for peer collaboration, like I said. People can share it with each other, help each other. If a teacher is really good at teaching math, they could share it with the math department, go over it, learn from them, and they can grow as teachers. And I don't know, I'm sure at your school district you can get any teacher that you want from anywhere in the world because your school district is the best. But I know that other school districts have a hard time recruiting school teachers, and so they're digging from inside and creating from inside with the help of this peer collaboration. Virtual coaching, this is really good for administration, sharing it with administration and going over real life scenarios. When I've been in classrooms when a principal or somebody was coming in and the students were dressed up, the room was clean, it was the teacher's best lesson of the year, it was the subject that they were the best at. Principal came in, it was great. Then they had a collaboration of what they saw, and the teacher can remember what she said because she thought she said a great thing, but he thought differently. With the camera, it eliminates that. They can go over and say, okay, at this moment you were calling out only girls, or you did a really good job when you said this, or whatever it may be. But they can go back and rewatch. And then there was a cool stat that we pulled with the camera saying teachers, before they upload it or give access to the administration to watch their lesson, they recorded themselves 13 times before sending the 14th one to the administration. So you're having a teacher record themselves 13 times, practicing 13 times before giving access to the administration. How impactful is that going to be for your teachers to do that? The second thing, and I've kind of touched it here and there, but is anytime, anywhere learning. Okay, whether the kid is sick or there's a substitute teacher, and I'll hit on the substitute first. With the substitute, we've seen in school districts, they kind of act more as a facilitator. And why? Is because the teacher can pre-record themselves if they know that they're going to miss, or they have a pre-recording just in case they miss, and they can put it on while the students are there and they're not. And the substitute can be a facilitator, so the kids aren't skipping a beat, the teacher isn't missing a beat, so on Monday when the teacher gets back from that Friday vacation, they're right on schedule and they haven't missed a thing. Okay, we have seen in school district that it's hard to find a jack of all trades to go from kid to kid who are sick and homebound to help them learn all different subjects, and nowadays with so many different subjects, that when a kid is sick and homebound, the teacher can record themselves, upload it. The kid can go right in, see exactly what the teacher said, not skip a beat, be on schedule, and so when they do get back out of the hospital or wherever they may be, they're right on schedule, and they've seen exactly what the teacher has said in lesson 1, 2, and 3, and they didn't miss anything. And that we've seen that be a huge tool. This is a really cool thing. The in-school suspension. What happened when I was in school was my friends, not me, I didn't go to ISS, maybe sometimes, they would go in there and have to read a book and miss out on the lesson, or they just put their head down and didn't pay attention and just fell asleep and missed the whole lesson. That really, those kids need the lesson the most of the time, right? So teachers now can pipe their lesson into a classroom in the same school, and so that those kids who are in ISS, don't miss anything. They're right on schedule. They're just in a different class in a more controlled environment, which is a very impactful tool. Again, there's so many different ways that this tool, this camera, as an instructional piece or an instructional tool, can be used in the everyday learning environment. The last thing that I want to talk about again is the safety and the discipline. And there's some studies that are really cool and really impactful. This one was done by PBIS. I don't know if you're familiar with PBIS, but it cost 45 minutes per incident per referral per student. So if a student gets in trouble and has to go through the referral process, it takes about 45 minutes per student. So in Covington, Georgia, Clemens Middle School, they were having a really hard time with referrals. There were more referrals than there were students enrolled that year. So they implemented PBIS, and it went down about 200 referrals, which is a good sum, and it went great. Then the next year they implemented something. I'm going to ask you what it is, but it went down to 82 referrals. What was that? Classroom cameras. When there is a camera streaming, what happens to everybody in this world? For some reason, they act better. They know that somebody's watching them, and their discipline is gonna be a lot better. And we have an outlier here, obviously, but this really helped Covington, Georgia, Clemens Middle School. They saved 540 hours worth of referrals in their school that year by implementing a camera in the classroom. A direct ROI. Like I said, can't stress enough, in Newton County, Georgia, discipline referrals dropped by 43% in year 1. Obviously, these are outlier school districts, and if you put cameras in the best school district in the world, it will decrease, but it will help overall. And your average school district, you will see a very impactful decrease in the discipline because there is a camera, and that's how people act. This will protect teachers. 1 in 7 male teachers will be falsely accused of inappropriate behavior. And I want to tell you one last story. There was a girl she was pregnant in high school, and she was taking a test. And the teacher went up to the student who was pregnant and said, "Hey, if you don't put your phone away, I'm going to take it away. We're trying to take a test." And she wouldn't, so he went and took it from her, and that was, at the end of the day, give the phone back, and she went on with her life, and he went on with his. And the next day, he shows up to school, and the police is there, the superintendent's there, the principal's there, everybody's there. She's there with an attorney and her mom, and he's confused, and the principal says, "Hey, we need to talk to you," and it was kind of a weird feeling is what I was told, and they go in there and said, "Hey, when you push that desk into that girl, the pregnant girl, you hurt the baby, and now you're going to get sued," and all that. And he kind of puckered up like, "Oh, yeah, really? That happened? Let's check the cameras." And the cameras were streaming, and they said, "Here it is. I just took the phone. We were taking a test. You can see here, nothing happened." And the principal and the superintendent went to the girl and said, "Well, obviously you can see here, nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Can we all go back to our normal lives?" And it saved reputations, it saved money, it saved time, effort, energy, by just having that one camera in that classroom to save that teacher and his career, pretty much. So overall, there are so many different benefits on how this can be a very impactful tool in your school district. I couldn't stress enough. And I want to share one last quote by Dr. Samantha Fury, superintendent of Newton County. She said, "Anytime a new challenge or initiative arises, we first consider how the cameras can help before purchasing another product." Anytime anything happens, if we need to be better at kids being on time to class, or we need to help kids grow in the science department, or whatever it may be, how can the cameras be a better tool to help goals A, B, and C? And I thought it was really, really cool on how first thing she thinks of is, how can the cameras be a tool? Again, we would love to be part of your school district. Your school district's amazing already, and we just want to increase on it, but I want to thank you for your time, and we'd love to be part of you guys. Thank you.